The stars looked beautiful from Europa's surface. Lisa Palmer stood at the viewing window of Listening Station 12, watching Jupiter rise over the icy horizon. She had worked at this remote station for 3 years now, away from the busy cities of Earth. Lisa liked the quiet. It helped her focus on the strange signals that came from deep space. Lisa was a xenolinguist. She studied possible alien languages. Most of her co-workers thought her job was a waste of time. Humans had been listening to the stars for over a century with no clear response. But Lisa knew better. The signals were there, just not meant for human ears. "Something strange today?" asked Ben, her station partner. He brought her a cup of hot coffee. "Yes," Lisa said, taking the cup. The same pattern from the Tau Ceti direction, but stronger now. She pointed to her screen where waves of data flowed across. "See how it repeats, but with small changes? That's not random noise." Ben shrugged. "If you say so. Just don't tell. Director Morris, you know how he gets about protocol." Lisa knew the rules. The World Space Agency had strict orders. Observe and record, but do not try to decode anything without permission. Strange signals were to be sent to Earth for the senior SEER team to review. But Lisa had been sending these particular signals for months with no response. The senior team probably thought they were just space noise. After Ben left for bed, Lisa did what she had been doing in secret for weeks. She ran her own decoding program. The program was her creation, designed to find patterns human ears might miss. Her screen flashed as the program found something. Words began to form, translated from the alien language. Lisa's heart beat faster as she read, "Sector 8, Grid 4, Planet 3, Moon 2, Primitive Outpost located. Specimen extraction approved. Human female subject required for neural mapping. Linguistic capabilities preferred. Stealth approach authorized." Lisa stared at the screen. Sector 8 was their solar system. Planet 3 was Earth. Moon 2 of Jupiter was Europa, where she was sitting right now. They were coming. For someone just like her. Lisa's hands shook as she copied the data to send an emergency alert to Earth. She had to warn them. This wasn't just alien contact, it was a threat. Before she could finish the transmission, the station's alarm screamed to life. "Proximity alert, unidentified object approaching station," the computer announced. Ben rushed into the room, still pulling on his uniform. "What the hell is that?" He pointed out the window where a dark shape moved against the stars. It wasn't like any ship Lisa had seen before. The object was smooth and curved, with a surface that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "It's them," Lisa whispered. "They're already here." "Who's here? What are you talking about?" Ben looked confused and scared. The station's communications panel lit up. "All stations, we have an emergency situation at Europa Listening Station 12. Unknown contact, possible meteor." The voice of their Earth controller cut off suddenly. The lights in the station flickered. Lisa grabbed the data drive with her translation program and the alien message. "We need to hide now," she told Ben. They ran toward the emergency shelter, but they were too late. The main airlock hissed open, though no one had authorized entry. Cold air rushed through the station as pressure changed. Lisa and Ben pressed themselves against the wall of the corridor, watching in horror. 3 tall figures entered the station. They wore fitted suits that moved like liquid metal. Their heads were covered with smooth helmets that revealed no faces. They moved with strange grace, as if Europa's gravity barely affected them. "Run!" Ben shouted, pushing Lisa toward the back of the station. He grabbed a fire extinguisher from the wall and sprayed it at the intruders. The white cloud of chemicals surrounded the aliens, but they walked through it untouched. One raised a small device. A bright flash filled the corridor, and Ben dropped to the floor. His body twitched once, then went still. Lisa ran as fast as she could. She needed to reach the emergency beacon in the back of the station. If she could activate it, Earth would know something was wrong. She slammed her hand on the control panel to seal the doors behind her, but they reopened almost immediately. The storage room at the back of the station was small with nowhere to hide. Lisa's hands flew over the emergency beacon controls. The system required a code and her fingerprint. The beacon light turned green just as the door slid open. One of the aliens stepped into the room. Up close, Lisa could see that the helmet wasn't completely solid. There was a kind of clear section where a face should be, but all she could make out were two glowing points of light like eyes. The alien tilted its head, studying her. It raised a hand toward her, and Lisa felt her body freeze. She couldn't move, couldn't scream. It was as if her brain and muscles were disconnected. A voice spoke directly into her mind. The words weren't English, but somehow she understood them. Subject located. Appropriate neural patterns detected. Specimen secured. Lisa felt herself falling as darkness took over her vision. Her last thought before consciousness faded was that she had failed. The emergency beacon was transmitting, but it would take hours for the signal to reach Earth. By then, she would be gone. In orbit around Earth, Alan Winters stared at his monitor in confusion. The young astronomer was working the night shift at NASA's Deep Space Monitoring Center when unusual readings came from Europa. At first, he thought it was a sensor error. The energy signature didn't match anything in their database. "Hey, Susan, can you check this?" he called to his supervisor. "Susan." Wong came over and frowned at the screen. "That's not one of ours. Has WSA launched anything to Jupiter recently?" "No," Alan said. "And look at this." He pointed to another reading. Europa Station 12 just activated their emergency beacon, but now all communications are dead. Susan's face grew serious. She reached for the secure phone line. "This is Director Wong at DSM Center. We have a situation at Europa that needs immediate attention. Possible unauthorized craft and station emergency." 24 hours later, the first rescue team reached Europa Station 12. What they found shocked the world. The station was mostly intact, but 5 crew members were dead. There was no sign of Lisa Palmer. The only clue was the station's security footage, which showed strange beings taking her away. Human history changed that day. Humanity was not alone, and their first contact was not peaceful. As governments around the world called emergency meetings, no one realized that Lisa Palmer's abduction would lead to the awakening of Earth's greatest secret, a fleet that had waited thousands of years for this moment. Pain was the first thing Lisa felt when she woke up. Her head throbbed and her body felt heavy as if gravity had doubled. She tried to move her arms, but they were held down by cold metal bands. The same was true for her legs and waist. She was strapped to some kind of table that was tilted upright. Lisa opened her eyes slowly. The room around her was unlike anything she had seen before. The walls curved in strange angles, and the light came from everywhere and nowhere at once. There were no obvious lamps or windows. The air smelled clean but artificial, like a hospital but with a hint of something she couldn't name. A sound like sliding metal made her turn her head. Part of the wall opened, and one of the beings who had taken her from Europa walked in. The better light, Lisa could see it clearly now. The creature was tall, at least 7 feet, with a slender build. Its skin was a pale blue-green color with a slight shimmer. Its face had 2 large eyes that glowed with an inner light, a small nose-like ridge, and a thin line for a mouth. Its head was hairless and slightly larger than a human's. "You are awake. Good." The voice came from the creature, but its mouth didn't move much. The words were in perfect English. "I am Science Director Krath of the Galactic Empire. You will assist us with our research." Lisa tried to speak, but her throat was dry. She coughed and tried again. "Where am I? Why did you kill my friends?" Krath moved closer, studying her with those glowing eyes. "You are aboard the Imperial Science vessel Eternal Inquiry. Your companions were removed as they were not needed. You, however, have value. Your brain structure shows unusual linguistic abilities even for a human." "How do you know that?" "How do you speak my language?" Lisa asked. "We have studied your species for many years. Your broadcasts fill this sector of space. Primitive but informative." Krath touched something on his wrist, and a holographic display appeared in the air. Your neural patterns are of particular interest. Your ability to decode our secure transmissions was unexpected. Lisa remembered now. The message she had translated, the warning she had tried to send. "What are you going to do with me?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "Learn," Krath said simply. "Your species is young, but shows potential that might one day threaten Imperial stability. We need to understand how your minds work." Another being entered the room, pushing a floating table covered with devices Lisa didn't recognize. Some looked like surgical tools, others like complex electronics. None of them seemed friendly. "The procedure will begin now," Krath said. "Anesthesia will not be used as it interferes with neural readings." "Wait," Lisa said, feeling panic rise in her chest. "You can't just—" Her words turned into a scream as one of the devices touched her head. Pain unlike anything she had ever felt shot through her body. It felt like her brain was on fire. Through tears, Lisa saw Krath watching her with cold interest, making notes on his holographic display. To him, her pain was just data. She was just a specimen, not a person. The torture continued for what felt like hours. Machines scanned her brain while others seemed to stimulate different areas, causing various reactions from pain to strange memories to involuntary muscle movements. When they finally stopped, Lisa was barely conscious. "Fascinating," she heard Krath say before darkness took her again. "Schedule another session for tomorrow. There is much more to learn." Days turned into weeks. Each day brought new tests, new pain. But between sessions, Lisa forced herself to stay alert. She listened to the aliens speak to each other, learning their language bit by bit. She memorized the layout of the rooms they took her to. She watched how they used their technology. One day, after a particularly brutal session, Lisa was left alone in a different room than usual. She was still strapped down, but the restraints were looser. She could see other chambers through a clear wall. In them were other beings. Not humans, but clearly prisoners like her. Some looked almost like large insects, others like reptiles or even plants. All showed signs of the same cruel experimentation. One small creature in the chamber next to hers caught her eye. It looked a bit like a fox with scales instead of fur and 6 legs instead of 4. It was watching her with intelligent eyes full of sorrow. "Hello," Lisa whispered, not expecting it to understand. To her surprise, it responded in broken English. "Hello, human. You new here?" "Yes," Lisa said. "How do you know my language?" "Empire takes many of us. We learn from each other. I am Tix, from Vixora. Empire destroyed my world 3 cycles ago. I am last of my kind." Lisa felt sick. "They destroyed your entire planet?" "Yes. We resist, they destroy. Simple imperial way. Many species gone now. Empire very old, very powerful." "I'm sorry about your world," Lisa said. "I'm Lisa from Earth." "Earth still lives?" Tix asked, seeming surprised. "Good. Maybe hope for you still." Their conversation ended when guards came to take Tix away. Lisa was left alone with her thoughts, and for the first time, real fear for her planet, not just herself. Back on Earth, Commander Peter Martinez walked through the underground military facility in what used to be called Area 51. Ever since the Europa incident 2 months ago, the world's military forces had united like never before. Old rivalries were set aside in the face of a threat greater than any human enemy. "The satellite network picked up something entering the solar system," said Samantha Green, a civilian engineer who had been brought into the project because of her expertise in theoretical propulsion systems. "It's using some kind of cloaking technology, but our new sensors detected its gravity signature." Peter looked at the 3D projection showing the object's path. "They're coming back, probably to check if we noticed their first visit." "We're not ready," Samantha said, her voice tight with worry. "None of our weapons can match what we saw in that Europa footage." "Then we need to find something that can," Peter said. He pulled up another file on the computer. "I've been studying ancient texts and myths from around the world. There are stories in every culture about advanced beings who once lived on Earth. Most scientists dismissed them as fantasy. But what if they weren't? Samantha looked skeptical. You think ancient humans had advanced technology and we somehow forgot about it? Not forgot, Peter said. Hidden. Look at this. He showed her a scan of an old map with strange markings. This was found in Lisa Palmer's personal files. She was researching these symbols as possible alien language origins, but they appear in human artifacts dating back 50,000 years, and these coordinates keep appearing. He pointed to a series of numbers that marked a spot in the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of Earth's oceans. You want to search the bottom of the ocean based on myth and some old symbols? Samantha asked. I want to try everything, Peter said firmly. Because if we don't find something to help us fight back, Earth might end up like Vixora, whatever that was. What Peter didn't know was that at that very moment, Lisa was learning more about the Empire's plans for Earth, and the clock was ticking faster than anyone realized. The deep-sea vessel Mariner sank slowly into the dark waters of the Pacific Ocean. Inside the control room, Samantha Green checked the depth readings as they passed 30,000 feet. The pressure outside would crush a normal submarine, but the Mariner was built with the best technology Earth had to offer. We're approaching the coordinates, Peter said, looking at the navigation screen. The deepest part of the Mariana Trench should be about 2 miles ahead. The crew of 12 was a mix of military personnel and scientists. They had been at sea for 3 weeks, keeping their mission secret from the public. The world governments had agreed that panic would not help anyone. Only those with the highest security clearance knew why they were searching the bottom of the ocean, while alien ships lurked at the edge of the solar system. Sonar is picking up something strange, said Kyle, the sonar operator. The seafloor doesn't match our charts. There's a large flat area where there should be a ridge. Samantha moved to look at his screen. Can we get visual confirmation? The Mariner's powerful lights cut through the darkness, but at this depth, they only reached a short distance. As they got closer to the bottom, shapes began to appear. The seafloor did look unnaturally flat, like it had been smoothed by tools, rather than nature. There's something else, Kyle said, adjusting the sonar. A large hollow space below the seafloor. It could be a cave system, but the readings are too regular. These aren't natural formations. Peter ordered the Mariner to circle the area. They found what looked like a large metal plate partly covered by sea life and sediment. It was at least 300 feet across. This has to be it, Samantha said. But how do we get in? Peter pointed to a section of the plate that seemed different. There might be an entrance there. Let's send the remote vehicle to check it out. They launched, a small robotic submersible that could fit into tighter spaces than the Mariner. It approached the metal plate and scraped away layers of growth. Underneath was a smooth surface with strange symbols carved into it. Those are the same symbols from Lisa's research, Samantha said, excitement in her voice. The robot scanned the surface with different types of light. Under ultraviolet, a pattern appeared that wasn't visible before. It looked like a handprint. It's a scanner, Peter said. It needs a human hand to open it. Not just any hand, Samantha replied, studying the pattern more closely. Look at these markings around it. Lisa theorized that these symbols represent genetic patterns. It might be coded to specific DNA. Peter looked at her. You mean it will only open for certain people? Maybe, Samantha said. But we have something that might work. She pulled out a small container from her bag. This is a tissue sample from Lisa Palmer's medical records. The lab created a synthetic version of her skin cells. If her research was right about the connection between these symbols and human genetics, it might recognize her pattern. It was a long shot, but they had no other options. They attached the synthetic tissue to the robot's manipulator arm and sent it back to the handprint. When the tissue touched the scanner, nothing happened at first. Then, slowly, the area around the handprint began to glow with a soft blue light. The giant metal plate shuddered. Centuries of sediment fell away as it started to move, sliding to one side to reveal a dark opening. It worked, Kyle shouted. Peter directed the Mariner into the opening. It was a huge tunnel that sloped downward. The walls were made of some kind of metal that their sensors couldn't identify. After traveling for about a mile, they entered a vast underwater cavern. Their lights revealed something that made everyone on board fall silent. In the middle of the cavern stood a massive structure. It was clearly artificial, with smooth lines and perfect symmetry. It looked like a city built inside a mountain, with towers and domes that seemed to be made of crystal and metal. "This can't be possible," one of the scientists whispered. "This structure would be at least 50,000 years old if the dating of those symbols is correct. Human civilization wasn't capable of building something like this back then. Maybe it wasn't built by humans as we know them," Samantha said. "Or maybe our understanding of human history is wrong." They found a dock where the mariner could attach to the structure. The air inside was breathable, though stale. It seemed like the place had systems to maintain itself even after thousands of years. Peter, Samantha, and 4 others entered the structure wearing protective suits, just in case. The interior was lit by a soft light that seemed to come from the walls themselves. They came to a large door with another handprint scanner. "Let's try Lisa's pattern again," Peter said. When they pressed the synthetic tissue to the scanner, the door opened to reveal a vast room filled with technology, unlike anything they had seen before. In the center was a platform with what looked like a control panel. Samantha approached it carefully. The symbols on it matched those from Lisa's research. As she studied them, she felt a strange connection, as if she understood what they meant even though she had never seen them before. "I think this is some kind of activation system," she said. Without knowing why, she placed her own hand on the main panel. The room suddenly came alive with light and sound. Holographic displays appeared in the air, showing images of stars and planets. A voice spoke in a language none of them recognized, but somehow Samantha understood it. Genetic verification accepted. Secondary commander lineage confirmed. Project Guardian activation sequence initiated. "What just happened?" Peter asked, staring at Samantha. She looked at her hand in shock. "I don't know. But it recognized me." The holographic display changed to show the Earth, then zoomed out to reveal thousands of points of light surrounding it, hidden in various places around the planet. "Those look like," Peter started. "Ships," Samantha finished for him. "Thousands of ships." The voice spoke again, and this time everyone heard it in English. "Fleet status dormant, all 10,427 vessels intact. Awaiting primary command authorization for full activation." Peter and Samantha looked at each other in amazement. They had found Earth's secret, hidden for thousands of years. A fleet powerful enough to stand against the Galactic Empire, but they still needed to find Lisa Palmer. According to the system, only she had the genetic pattern needed to become the fleet's primary commander and fully activate the ships. Meanwhile, aboard the Imperial vessel, Lisa had managed to gain more freedom by pretending to cooperate with her captors. She learned that the Empire was preparing a larger force to deal with Earth, which they now saw as a potential threat. The clock was ticking, and Earth's newfound fleet wouldn't help if Lisa couldn't escape and get back home to activate it. Lisa sat in her cell, eyes closed but mind alert. After 3 months aboard the Imperial ship, her body was weak, but her mind had grown stronger. She now understood most of the Imperial language and had learned much about their technology. The aliens thought she was broken, just a test subject who had given up. That was exactly what she wanted them to think. Through careful listening and observation, Lisa had figured out that the ship was no longer near Earth. They had traveled to a research station orbiting a gas giant in a nearby star system. The Imperials called it Research Station Zenith. It was where they took their most important specimens for long-term study. Lisa had made a friend in the alien Tix, who was kept in the cell next to hers. They communicated in whispers when the guards weren't around. Tix had been helping her understand the station's layout. "Human Lisa," Tix whispered. "Guards changing soon. 3 minutes by your counting." "Thank you, Tix," Lisa replied softly. "Any news from the other sectors?" "Yes. Rumors of unknown ships near Empire border worlds. Not Empire design. Empire leaders worried." Lisa felt a spark of hope. Could it be that Earth had found a way to fight back? But how? When she was taken, Earth had no ships that could travel between stars. The door to the cell block opened, and a guard entered. It was one Lisa had named Blue Stripe because of the marking on his uniform. He was less cruel than the others, sometimes, bringing her extra water when she was very weak after the experiments. Blue Stripe approached her cell. Subject 27, prepare for transfer. Science Director Krath wants new neural scan. Lisa stood slowly, pretending to be weaker than she actually was. As Blue Stripe opened her cell door, alarms suddenly blared throughout the station. Red lights flashed in the corridor. Alert. Unknown vessels detected. Security breach in Docking Bay 4. Blue Stripe touched his communication device. Report. He listened for a moment, then looked at Lisa with his glowing eyes wide. Impossible, he turned to run back to the corridor. But before he could leave, the power in the cell block went out. Emergency lights came on, casting everything in a dim red glow. The cell doors, which needed power to stay locked, all slid open. Lisa didn't hesitate. She ran past the confused guard and into the corridor. Other prisoners were also escaping from their cells. Some were running wildly, while others seemed too weak or scared to move. Tix, Lisa called. Come with me. The six-legged fox-like alien ran to her side. Where go, Lisa? Docking Bay 4, she said. I think someone has come for us. Using the confusion and her knowledge of the station layout, Lisa led Tix through the corridors. Twice they had to hide from Imperial guards who were rushing to defend against whatever was attacking the station. Lisa noticed that the guards looked scared, something she had never seen before. As they got closer to Docking Bay 4, they heard sounds of fighting. Strange energy weapons fired and Imperial soldiers shouted orders. Then Lisa heard something that made her stop in shock. Human voices. Clear the left corridor. Find the prisoners. 2 more guards down. Move forward. Lisa couldn't believe it. Humans were on the station. But how? With what ships? She pulled Tix into a small maintenance room as a group of Imperial soldiers ran past. Through the crack in the door, she saw them carrying weapons much larger than the usual guards. This bad, Tix whispered. Those elite soldiers, very dangerous. We need to warn the humans, Lisa said. She looked around the small room and found a maintenance panel. Tix, can you help me access the station's communication system? The alien nodded and used his nimble paws to open the panel. Inside were glowing circuits that Tix quickly rearranged. A small screen lit up. Quick, Lisa. System open, but not for long. Lisa touched the screen and was relieved to see it respond to her. She had learned enough about Imperial technology to send a simple message. She typed in English, Imperial elite troops coming to Docking Bay 4. Humans beware. This is Lisa Palmer. She hit send and hoped someone would receive it. In Docking Bay 4, Commander Peter Martinez ducked behind a fallen piece of equipment as energy bolts flew over his head. His team of 20 soldiers was making progress, but the Imperial defenders were putting up a strong fight. Sir, called one of his communications. Officers. We're receiving a message on an open channel. It's in English. Peter couldn't believe it when he heard Lisa Palmer's warning. She's alive and helping us, he said. Send response team to Maintenance Section 12 and get ready for those elite troops. The rescue mission had been planned for weeks after they discovered 5 ships in the ancient underwater base that could be activated with Samantha's partial genetic authorization. Samantha was now on the command ship, coordinating the attack from orbit. The ancient ships had technology that the Empire seemed to have forgotten. They could slip past Imperial sensors and even travel through something the ancient records called dimensional folds. It wasn't exactly teleportation, but it was close. They had appeared inside the station's defensive perimeter without warning. Peter's team had been fighting their way through the station for 20 minutes. They had freed several prisoners, but not Lisa. Now they knew where to find her. Just as Lisa's message had warned, a group of Imperial elite soldiers appeared at the far end of the docking bay. They wore heavier armor than the regular guards and carried weapons that fired continuous beams rather than bolts of energy. Fall back to defensive positions, Peter ordered. His team took cover behind the stronger parts of the docking bay. The fight was intense. 3 of Peter's soldiers were hit and badly wounded before they could adjust their tactics. The ancient Ships had provided them with advanced weapons and shields, but the Imperial elites were clearly experienced fighters. Meanwhile, Lisa and Tix were making their way toward Docking Bay 4, avoiding Imperial patrols. They were almost there when they ran into a group of humans in strange armor. "Lisa Palmer?" asked their leader, lowering her weapon. "Yes," Lisa said, barely able to believe she was seeing other humans. "How did you find me?" "Long story. I'm Captain Kelly Wright. Commander Martinez sent us to find you. We need to get you out of here now." "Not without Tix," Lisa said firmly, putting a protective arm around the alien. "And there are others. The Empire has been taking specimens from dozens of worlds." Captain Wright nodded. "We'll free as many as we can, but you're our priority. The fleet can't be fully activated without you." "Fleet? What fleet?" Lisa asked. "Earth's ancient fleet," Kelly said. "The one your research helped us find." "You've been right all along, Lisa. There was an advanced human civilization thousands of years ago. They left us ships to defend ourselves when we needed them." As they moved toward the docking bay, Lisa told them about the most important thing she had discovered. "The Empire is planning to attack Earth soon. They have a weapon that can destroy entire planets. I've seen the plans in their database." "Then, we need that information," Kelly said. "Can you access it?" "Yes, but I need to get to Science Director Krath's lab. It's heavily guarded." "Change of plans," Kelly told her team. "We're making a detour." The fighting in Docking Bay 4 was the perfect distraction. While Peter and his team held off the Imperial forces there, Kelly's team slipped through the station, toward the lab. They met resistance along the way, but the ancient weapons they carried cut through the Imperial defenses. When they reached the lab, Lisa went straight to the main computer. Her fingers flew over the alien controls as she downloaded everything she could find about the Empire's plans for Earth and their defensive systems. "Got it," she said, holding up a small data crystal. "This has everything we need to save Earth. Now they just had to get back to the ships and escape with their vital information. But the Empire wasn't going to let them leave without a fight." As alarms continued to blare throughout the station, Lisa knew that the hardest part of their mission was still ahead. The ancient human ship slipped through space like a ghost. It moved in ways that the Empire's sensors couldn't track. Inside the ship's medical bay, Lisa Palmer lay on a healing bed as special lights worked to repair the damage done to her body. After 3 months of Imperial torture, she was finally safe, but Earth was not. "How are you feeling?" Samantha Green asked as she entered the room. Lisa sat up slowly. "Better. This technology is amazing. The pain is almost gone." Samantha nodded. "The ancient fleet has medical systems far beyond what we have on Earth. But we need your help now, Lisa. We can't fully activate the fleet without you." Lisa looked around the medical bay. Everything was both strange and somehow familiar to her. "How did you even find these ships? And why do you need me?" "Your research led us to them," Samantha explained. "The symbols you were studying before your capture, they weren't alien. They were from an ancient human civilization, and somehow, your genetic pattern is keyed to their command systems." Peter Martinez joined them, bringing the data crystal Lisa had stolen from the Imperial station. "Our scientists have been analyzing this. The Empire is sending a large force to Earth. They'll arrive in less than 2 weeks." Lisa swung her legs off the bed. "Then we need to hurry. Take me to the command center." The ship's command center was a large round room with control panels and viewing screens that showed the stars outside. 4 other ancient ships flew in formation with them. Tix and several other freed aliens stood with the human crew, all watching as Lisa approached the main control panel. "What do I do?" Lisa asked. "Place your hand here." Samantha guided her to a scanner similar to the one they had found in the underwater base. When Lisa touched it, the entire room lit up with new displays. A voice spoke in the ancient language that Lisa now partly understood. "Primary. Commander genetic pattern confirmed. Full fleet activation authorized." On screens around the room they saw images from Earth. Hidden bases in mountains, under oceans, and beneath deserts were coming to life. Ships that had slept for 50,000 years were powering up. 10,000 ships, Peter whispered in awe. "With technology the Empire doesn't expect. Lisa studied the tactical displays. The Empire thinks we're helpless. We can use that surprise to our advantage. She pointed to the data crystal. This contains their attack plans and weaknesses in their defenses. For the next week, as they raced back to Earth, Lisa worked with human military leaders to prepare a defense plan. The ancient ships gave them abilities the Empire wouldn't expect, like moving through what the ancient records called dimension folds, shortcuts through space that allowed near-instant travel. Earth's governments united under a single command structure, with Lisa as the fleet commander. They kept the ancient fleet hidden, positioning ships in the shadow of planets and moons throughout the solar system. When the Imperial attack force arrived, it was massive. 500 warships appeared near Jupiter and began moving toward Earth. They expect us to surrender or die, Lisa said from the command ship now orbiting Earth's moon. Let them come closer. The Imperial ships moved into position around Earth. Their commander, Admiral Vex, sent a message to all Earth communication systems. People of Earth, your planet is now under Imperial control. Surrender and accept your place in the Empire, or be destroyed. You have 1 hour to decide. Earth's leaders pretended to argue among themselves, asking for more time. It was all part of Lisa's plan to lure the Imperial ships into perfect position. As the deadline approached, Admiral Vex grew impatient. Prepare the planet killer beam, he ordered his weapons officer. We will make an example of these humans. That was the moment Lisa had been waiting for. All ships activate dimension fold drives. Execute attack plan Alpha. Across the solar system, the ancient human fleet vanished from their hiding places. In an instant, they reappeared surrounding the Imperial fleet. Before the Empire could react, the human ships fired weapons that tore through Imperial shields as if they weren't there. Impossible! Admiral Vex shouted as his flagship shook from direct hits. Where did these ships come from? Their technology looks like ancient precursor design, his science officer finished. But they were wiped out 50,000 years ago. On her command ship, Lisa opened a channel to the Imperial flagship. Admiral Vex, this is Fleet Commander Lisa Palmer of Earth. Your science director should remember me. I was Subject 27 in your torture chambers. The Admiral's face showed shock as he recognized her. How did you escape? How did you get these ships? They were always ours, Lisa said. Humanity didn't start on Earth. We came here long ago, hiding from enemies like you. We left these ships behind in case the Empire ever found us again. The battle was short but fierce. The ancient human weapons cut through Imperial defenses easily. Nearly half the Imperial fleet was destroyed in the first hour. The rest tried to retreat, but the human ships followed them through their own dimension. Folds. You used our own research against us, Admiral Vex said as his damaged flagship drifted helplessly. The neural scans of your brain showed us your potential, but we never imagined. You should have left us alone, Lisa replied. Now surrender. Your remaining ships. The Imperial survivors had no choice but to surrender. Earth had won its first interstellar war. In the days that followed, Lisa used the ancient fleet to free other worlds that had been oppressed by the Empire. Many species, like Tix's people, had survivors who had been taken as specimens. They were returned to colony worlds where they could rebuild. Lisa stood on the observation deck of the command ship, looking down at Earth. Samantha joined her there. What will you do now? Samantha asked. First, we need to learn everything we can about this fleet and our true history, Lisa said. Then we need to prepare. The Empire we fought was just one battle group. There's a whole galaxy out there, and the Empire controls most of it. But they don't know about all our ships yet, Samantha pointed out. We still have the advantage of surprise for the rest of the fleet. Lisa nodded. And we have something else they don't understand. The will to be free. That's what kept me going in that lab. That's what helped me survive until you found me. A message came through from Earth. The world's leaders had come to a decision. Humanity would unite under a single government to face the threat from space, and they wanted Lisa to lead the new fleet. Are you ready for this? Samantha asked. Leading humanity into a galactic war? Lisa looked at the stars beyond Earth. No one is ever ready for something like this, but we don't have a choice. The Empire will come back stronger next time. and other species are still suffering under their rule. She touched the control panel, and a galactic map appeared. Thousands of worlds were marked in imperial colors, but a small section, just a few, dozen stars including Earth's sun, now glowed with a different color. "This is just the beginning," Lisa said. "Now we take the fight to them." In the medical bay, Tix and the other freed aliens were helping human doctors understand alien biology. In the engine room, engineers were learning how the ancient technology worked. All across Earth, people were preparing for a new age. The Empire had tortured one human girl, thinking humans were weak. Now they would face the full power of Earth's ancient fleet.